For this process, how much did it cost you?
So it cost me about, did we do this? It was about £1,200 in total. That's roughly how much it costs. So that's just the nursing registration and the visa. Do you also mean like the moving costs as well, or?
The moving cost, that can be like, that's based on personal reference.
Yeah. So so in total it was about £1,200, and that's just basically for the visa and all of my nursing registration costs. It really added up.
Wow. And did that include the police clearance and the medicals?
Yes, so all of the medicals, so it was the medicals, which are like £300-400, the police clearances, which are like £60-70 each. I'm like, why? And then to even apply for the visa, I think it was like $150 or something like that. And then to even apply to the nursing council, to register for this nursing council, which CGFNS, that was like $300, £300 or something like that. Oh, and then what else did I have to do? There were so many little costs. I had to pay to my document. Yeah, my documents notarized. My university charged me as well for sending the transcript.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Like, let me tell you, there was nothing that was free. For every pre-application for an application, you had to pay for the oh my God.
I really had to put in this question because I know you are someone that really takes into details every single penny. Like
so I completely agree. Like I knew it would I knew it wouldn't be cheap, but it was still cheaper than I anticipated.
Oh wow.
You actually look at what was it was actually cheaper than I would have thought it would have been, because that's really all it cost me, $1,200, because everything else, like the flight was paid for by my employer, quarantine was paid for by my employer, they paid for like my luggage and everything, and I didn't have any shipping costs, I didn't have to like sell a house. So it really only costs me £1,200, which in the grand scheme of when you look at how much it costs to emigrate is ridiculously cheap, actually. Yeah. Especially in the pandemic.
Yeah, and it's worth it, right?
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah. So yeah, you've practiced in England for a while, and currently you're practicing in New Zealand. So what would you say is a difference? What do you see differently?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. There are so many things which are different. And I would say one of the main things that's completely different is that it feels a lot more relaxed here compared to in England. Even though I'm doing pretty much exactly the same job, it's still just as busy. But for some reason, the stress isn't hitting as much as it was back in England. And I would say it's not necessarily because the job is easier or the patients are less ill, because there are a lot of similarities between the patients that I'm encountering here versus in England. Like I said, we are just as busy, just as short-staffed as I was back in England, but I'm not feeling the stress as much. And I would probably attribute that to the like work-life balance. I feel like I've got a better work-life balance here. I feel like I said, Auckland is surrounded by water. There are like 100 beaches. All you have to do is walk 2 minutes down the road and you see another beach. Like, you're able to like go for hikes, you're able to like go for walks a lot more. So I would say you're able to de-stress a lot better and a lot quicker than back in England, even though the job is, like I said, it's pretty much I'm doing the same job and it's pretty much the same thing. Very, very, very similar. So I wouldn't say there are too many differences. And also because the New Zealand model of nursing is based on the English model of nursing as well. So it's pretty much almost side by side. So there really isn't a lot of difference.
Okay. What were the cultural shocks you had?
Oh, some of the cultural shocks I had are actually quite interesting. Like, it feels like everyone is just so chilled. Like, it just feels like literally, I know that I feel like everyone is too relaxed. Like, I feel like there's no like, chop chop. Let's do things quickly. It's like, oh yeah, I'll take my time. Or I'll see you in a minute. Or I think that's the biggest. I do find that a lot of Kiwi people, they're just so relaxed compared to what I'm used to back in England. I'm just used to like a faster pace of life. Over here, everything is a bit slower, a bit quieter, a lot more relaxed, but they think they're busy. Which is the biggest difference. I'm like, what? This is busy.
Wow.
What? You rushed off your feet. No. So I feel like everyone's relaxed, and even when you look at how because I'm sort of used to London where like for example, this is just an example, like in London, when me and my friends go out and when we meet up and stuff, we're all like dressed up, there are certain bars and clubs which you can't get into if you're wearing trainers. Like you have to look good. Whereas over here, you go on a night out and you see people in tracksuits in a club. And like you see men in like shorts. And I'm thinking, what? You would never be allowed in here in England. Whereas over here, it's like, oh yeah, everyone's just chill, free, relaxed.
Oh my goodness.
Literally, I saw a girl in a whole tracksuit in a nightclub. And sometimes I feel like I'm the most overdressed person. Like when I go out with my friends, because I'll be wearing my makeup, I've got my clothes, I've got like a bodycon dress, I've got everything, like hair is laid, it's done. Wow. And everyone else is just like in a t-shirt, and like, especially in summer, everyone's in a t-shirt and like sandals.
Wow.
Nah, wear this in London and see where you can get it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very, very chilled. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a shocker for me as well. Like, wow.
I could not believe my eyes. I was like, what? Because sometimes you have to wear heels, don't you? You've got to wear heels, and men have to have like a shirt, like like a nice
good,
and you see
with glitters
and shorts lining up to get into a club, and they're allowed in. So I was shocked.
No. So that brings me to my last question for the day. And what are your advices you can give to people that are thinking about New Zealand, either as a place for study or work?
I would say my biggest advice, or sort of my biggest warning, is that New Zealand is a very difficult place to migrate to. They have some of the strictest, well, I feel like are very, very strict, immigration laws. There's so many hoops you have to jump through. There are so many criteria you have to meet, certain thresholds you have to meet. So I would say the first thing you have to do is to do your research thoroughly. And the best place to do that is the Immigration New Zealand website. Like, it is really, really good. It does tell you exactly what you need. So you have to do your research. And number two, I would say you have to save up to move, because migrating is not cheap. Is really, really not cheap. It is so expensive. Anything from flights, etc. And I would also just recommend finding a sponsor or employer that can cover a lot of the cost for you, even if it means that you enter into a contract. So for me, like I said, my employer covered a lot of things. Like I can't even imagine what this would have cost me. You know, they paid for my flights out here, which included my luggage. Like I said, they paid for an estate agent to help me to look for a place when I was in quarantine. You know, like this apartment was found by her. She went around for me and, you know, was looking at flats on my behalf. So as soon as I came out of quarantine, you know, there was already somewhere waiting in a nice, safe neighborhood, you know, ready to go. And then they also paid for quarantine. MIQ at the time, it was like $3,000. Obviously, the New Zealand government actually covered all of that. I think it was for anyone that was bringing in employers, the New Zealand government, you know, like subsidized the cost or paid for all of it. So that was all fine. They paid for like a financial advisor to talk to me about what to do with my money, what to do with like my pensions, should I leave them back there or not? And you know, they just did a lot. Like I really have to thank them for that. However, it just meant that I entered into a 2-year contract where if I leave before the 2 years, I will have to pay back some of the money, not all of it because it's prorated. So I'll have to pay back some of the money. So find someone that can either sponsor you or just help you to move. And a lot of it, and I would say it'd probably be easy to do because there are a lot of jobs that are on the scarce list. There are a lot of professions that they're absolutely desperate for, and you will highly likely get an employer that will help you throughout the entire immigration process. So that's what I'd recommend. I'd recommend you research, you save, and where you can find someone to sponsor you or, you know, pay for a lot of the cost.
Wow. All right, so thank you so much, Tembie. I really do appreciate you coming over here and sharing your experience. This is a very, very, I really love this conversation.
Thank you.
Because it was really totally different from what I was expecting. And yeah, seriously. So thank you. You gave us details and everything. I really do appreciate. So thank you. So guys, if you want more of Tembie's vibe, head over to her channel, it's Shackles of Death, and make sure you subscribe, you know, watch her videos. She has loads of content there, guys. She is detailed to the T. Yes. So with all that being said, this is the end of this video. If you guys want me to bring her back here, just let me know in the comment section, okay? Yeah, with all of that, it's a wrap. Bye.